Okay, there we go. I'm waiting for YouTube to go on, and I will now turn on Periscope. I hope this is working. So, I'm gonna let people pile in, so I'll just blather for a minute, or trickle in, I guess. And so I'll just blather for a minute. Um, I've been trying these little practice sessions on YouTube that you guys might have seen, you guys might not have seen, I don't know, where I'm trying to practice doing this because I'm using a software I really don't know very well. And it's not to say I'm not tech savvy, it's just I just don't quite get exactly how I'm doing this. So it seems to not work very well with Periscope. So I'm periscoping from my phone, so you guys on Twitter can watch from there, and then I'm also YouTubing from my computer, and so I just need to make sure that it says I'm live, so I'm gonna go with that. So I wanted to start at 10:20, but it would not give me the option to start at 10:20, so I had to push it back to 10:30. So that's fine. So, yes, as the title suggests, I'm going to be talking today about my experience with keto and hypothyroidism. So, those of you who have hypothyroidism and are considering a ketogenic diet, you guys, can at least hear a firsthand experience from my point of view. As somebody who's still fairly new to keto, um, and still kind of remembers what it was like starting out on a ketogenic diet. So I do have 3 different desktops open so that I can keep an eye on the live stream and um, my questions, my topics and things of that nature. If I don't get to chat, because I sometimes forget that the chats are there, and I apologize in advance. If I don't get to your questions on the chat, I will definitely go back and look at the comments, and then I will, in the future, I will answer them on future live shows. I think I'm enjoying doing the live shows more than um, doing actual videos, simply because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to editing. At least I try to be, even though I'm not the greatest at it, but I get it as good as I can get it, and one video can take me a day just because I try to do so much to a video as far as making it fun to watch and concise as needed. So yeah. So it's 10:30 now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. Hello, everybody. I am Sasha, and welcome to Keto Craft. Today, I'm going to be talking about hypothyroidism and my experience on a ketogenic diet. There are a lot of people out there who do this diet with with hypothyroidism, and I think that it's important to hear from as much of us as possible, because I'm sure all of our experiences are different, just as everybody who has a normal thyroid has different experiences. So I'm just going to be sharing a little bit about what I've gone through since starting my ketogenic journey, and I'm going to just kind of let you guys know, as far as I have experienced, what you might expect from this diet with your thyroid being whatever it is. So, for those of you who have followed me on YouTube for a while, you guys know that I have a group of syndromes that kind of where it affects the pituitary gland. So, a lot of things with me are affected by the pituitary gland, not just the thyroid. Um, and so this is a different experience, I'm sure, than a lot of people, because I guess what I have is really rare. For those of you who may have it out there, I have Demoiselles syndrome. So if you guys have that, and my experiences can help you that much more, then please feel free to ask questions and stuff like that, and I'll tell you what I can. Um, so, um, the first thing I wanted to answer is why I'm doing this, and again, it's more so that more people can hear from people with hypothyroidism as to how this diet works, and what they need to do to make it work for them. So that is precisely why I'm doing this. And hopefully to encourage those of you who have, a hypothyroidism issue to do this diet, and not be discouraged if things get kind of, like if things stall or if things go wrong or what have you. So what hypothyroidism has meant for me, meaning my experiences with hypothyroidism, it's basically my metabolism goes at a snail's pace. And I think I will be, what I like to, how I think of it as, or how I've learned to think of it as, is while I'm processing dinner from the night before, people are already on their, I am still processing dinner at breakfast and maybe into lunch. That's how slow my metabolism goes. And I just have to give my metabolism that leeway to digest and process food from the night before, because I know that it does work slower than the metabolism of other people. And the reason that I got heavy as I am is because I didn't understand that. And you can't really explain that to a child because it's not something that we can understand. I've known that I've had a thyroid issue since I was 5. And I didn't quite know what the thyroid was or what it did or the repercussions that may be from, consuming the same things that my brother and my sisters did, as a kid. I just thought that, we should all be treated equally and da-da-da-da, and I didn't understand that, and my parents weren't going to treat me any differently, obviously, because, they don't want to do that to their children, but the consequence is I ended up putting on a lot more weight than my siblings did. So, the slow metabolism was something that I had to grow into the understanding of. On this diet, what has happened with me, and I don't know if it happens with any of you, there's a lot of meat in this diet, and I have a harder time processing meat. I'm not taking, just by the way, I'm not recommending you guys do this, but I am not on any Synthroid at the moment or any other thyroid medication. Mostly because the hypothyroidism, as far as I'm aware, is something that never goes away. As far as I am aware, hypothyroidism is something that you either, come into or you are born with, and as far as I know, again, I'm not a doctor or any kind of certified physician, but as far as I know, it doesn't go away. I have had this all my life due to the Dumorzier syndrome, and the last doctor I saw swears up and down that I don't have any thyroid issues, so he refused to refill my Synthroid, which really angered me at first because I have been on that medicine since I was 5. And every doctor that I've ever had has put me on that medicine, even when they are completely unaware of my previous medical history. So I think this doctor was just, he didn't really know what he was talking about. And he wasn't an endocrinologist, so he was not the right person to have done what he did, but I basically got cut off of Synthroid cold turkey. So I'm not on Synthroid. So it does, Synthroid, for those of you who don't know, is it supposed to speed up your metabolism so that it functions at a normal pace. And there are different doses of the medicine you can take depending on how slow your metabolism is. So I'm doing this without Synthroid, and I figured that was just a sign from the universe that maybe I can do this without extra medicines that may be doing damage. So I'm not recommending anyone go off medicine. That is something that you need to make a decision with, either with or without your physician, whatever you feel more comfortable with. But for me on this diet, with a hypothyroid issue, processing meat is pretty hard. It has been since I've been off the Synthroid. I've noticed that. So I need to be very controlled in my portions with red meat and really even with chicken, because it's just, I guess, harder to break down. So that is definitely something to be on the lookout for if you're on this diet. Definitely get your fat in, because we need that energy. That is fat is the new sugar. So for those of you who are new to keto, think of it like that. Fat is your new sugar. It's your new energy source. So you need to make sure and get that fat in. And I cannot tell you how important it is to be drinking water on this diet, especially with a thyroid issue. And I am such a bad example because I don't have my water jug with me. I forgot it. But I know what it, like, I've seen this diet when you're drinking tons of water, and I've also experienced this diet when I'm barely drinking any water. And let me tell you, drink water. It is one of the highest priorities next to getting your fat in, because when your metabolism is slow, that water is doing more than just helping your body burn off calories and things of that nature. It is giving, like, I don't know if anyone else with thyroid issues, I'm beginning to believe it could be a thyroid issue, where it also will affect your skin. And I'm finding when I don't drink enough water, because I am naturally vitamin A deficient, I think, it really does start to impact the way that my skin looks and the health of my body in general. So drink water, drink a lot of water. Do whatever you can to make yourself drink water, because that's also going to help you pass things through without going TMI. No water, no bathroom break. So, you guys need to be drinking water, because I have found that when I am drinking the amount of water I should be drinking, I find that everything is functioning more closely to normal than if I don't. And right now, I think I posted in one of the groups that I'm in that sometimes I'm lucky if I'm getting in 20 ounces because I'm just not thirsty. And what has happened, I believe, with me is that being in ketosis and not getting enough salt in my diet is making me not thirsty. And that is bad, because that's even worse for my skin, because I'm dehydrating my body. So I needed to make dietary adjustments, and I'll get into some keto dietary adjustments in just a minute. So another thing that is happening is, because of my metabolism not processing food the way that normal metabolisms do, is I'm getting things like Keto Rash. And the reason that I think that that is happening, I think I've talked about this in the Keto Rash video, so I won't go too much in depth, but basically what I think is happening is because my body has a hard time processing, like, the meat and all that other stuff in general, that, like Dr. Berg talks about, because my body basically needs somewhere to dump its toxins. That's how I end up with Keto Rash. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that my metabolism is what it is. And I don't process food regularly. So those of you who are, doing a ketogenic way of eating with a thyroid issue like mine, just definitely make sure you implement water, and perhaps a good one is $30, but, like, you can get it as little as $13, but right now, while I'm moving, that's not an expenditure I could make. So once I get settled in my new place, that will probably be the first thing that I buy. I thought that getting more electrolytes in throughout my day might help, and I think it has helped. But if you want your keto rash to go away faster, I would definitely recommend doing the biosalt thing. because adding extra electrolytes to my diet has helped the keto rash start to go away, and it is gone away pretty much. But if I get really sweaty, if I get really hot, it starts to come back. So I just need to make sure I add those food processing materials to my diet, such as bile salts. So Carb Up Days and other ways that I eat on my diet. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that kind of stuff. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are Carb Up Days, yes or no. So some people do Carb Up Days, some people do not. I know Healthful Pursuit was the first person to introduce the concept to me that you could actually do that on keto. Before I go into this really in depth, I'm going to say this. There are a lot of people on a ketogenic diet who are what a lot of people would call purists, and they do not do Carb Up Days, they do not do cheat meals, they do not do this, that, or the other, okay? If you're somebody with a hypothyroid issue, you need to make a decision on how you are going to approach this diet, because your metabolism is not going to be what everyone else is, and so you're going to have to decide what is right for you, despite what purists or staunch keto followers do, what they say or do, because you need to work with your body the best that you can, and your journey is not their journey, and their journey is not your journey. So that being said, I do Carb Up Days, and I find that it is necessary, and from everything that I've read and seen, for people with thyroid issues like mine, it is a necessity almost that we do Carb Up Days, because Carb Up Days are kind of, they're our friends in a way, and I'll explain how. Carb Up Days can help you break stalls. Carb Up Days can help you if you experience hair loss. And a lot of people, I have not, surprisingly, because I get all the bad things, but I have not experienced hair loss like some people have on this diet, on this way of eating. So a lot of people will experience hair loss and just all around different symptoms. And I have read that carbing up certain days out of the week can help you, with those kinds of issues. And so, yes, I do Carb Ups, and I'm going to explain how I do my Carb Ups. I'll go more in depth in future videos for time's sake, but what I do is I will pick certain days out of the week that I will have a Carb Up Day, and sometimes if I don't pick a specific day, then I'll just have a couple days or whatever out of the week where I carb up. So I try to keep it on a schedule, but I'm sometimes really good at sticking to schedules, and sometimes I'm absolutely terrible at sticking to schedules. So I make sure I get at least 2 to 3 days of Carb Ups in. It really depends, though, on what kind of a period my body seems to be in. Meaning, am I at a point where I'm losing inches and weight, or am I in a stall? So, if I find that I am in a stall, I tend to do less Carb Ups, but I'll explain that in just a second. So when I carb up, the way that I do it is I go heavy on the greens. My kale, my spinach, broccoli, chard, all of those greens that just basically, to just cut to it, all those greens that make you poop. I stock stockpile my body with those, because on this diet, long bathroom breaks are hard to come by. And I find that greens really, really work because they add much needed fiber to the diet. And so when I carb up, rather than using things like sweet potatoes that are more likely to stop me up, I will use greens because they just work better for me. So I tend to stick close to my veggies. I might have a few more berries, anything that's going to, you know, help things move along. Because my metabolism is slow, I need to work with things that help it along. And so I tend to stay away from things like yams or sweet potatoes. Not that I would never do them. If I wanted to like have a treat on keto on a carb up day, then that's probably what I would go for. So definitely sticking close to my greens, and my berries. I don't delve into fruit or anything like that because that's just a lot of sugar. And the trick with my carb ups is to work with the metabolism and the processing and not add to my weight in the process. So another thing that I do when I'm not carbing up is intermittent fasting, to give myself time to process those carb up days. So hang on a second, I'm looking at my notes. Sorry. Okay, so stalling. I want to get back to stalling a second. So when I am carbing up, it depends on, like I said, if I'm stalling. If I'm in a point where I'm really, really stalling, normally my macros are so that I get 15 grams of carbs per day. And I only allow myself 15 grams of net carbs per day because everyone else usually will do 20. And I take those extra 5 off for my metabolism and for my way of processing. So I make sure and stick very close to 15 or less. If I am stalling, I will take at least one of those carb up days per week, and I will go up to 50 carbs that day. The following day, I will intermittent fast, and because I'm still kind of burning everything from the day before, I find that I can almost 24-hour fast. I just listen really closely to my body, and if my body says I'm not hungry yet, then I don't eat. Because I know that what my body is doing is it's burning off what I've eaten the day before. And that's allowing my metabolism to process everything that I threw at it the day before. I do not do 50-gram carb up days very often. I try to limit those to maybe 1 or 2 a month. And again, it's not going off the rails and eating something that, is going to, put me in a bad place. It's sticking close to the greens and having a protein drink or having, a salad, a big salad. I can eat, before I did keto, I used to eat bowls of, like, big lettuce bowls of kale with nothing on top of it but lemon and olive oil. So on the carb up days, I will dive right into my kale salads, and I might fix them up a little more with like spinach or broccoli or an egg or something like that, and just like go heavy on my kale because I love kale. So when I'm stalling, I will shock my system by doing a heavy carb day and then just maybe 24 to 48 hour fasting. And I'm working out in these periods just to allow my body the shock of going from being, not doing a whole lot of activity to, oh my gosh, there's all this influx of food and she's working out. What the heck is going on here? And it really does shock the system. and then I'll be really easy on my body. I'll still work out, but I'll go back the next day to 15 carbs, and I'll keep at 15 carbs, and then the scale will move. I never thought that I would work out on this diet. It wasn't part of my MO. I had read a lot that you don't have to work out on this diet in order to lose weight. And so for the first, maybe for the first month or two, I didn't really work out. And then I found myself with all this energy that I decided, well, I think it's time for me to start working out. So I do workouts that are fun for me because I hate exercise, I'll be honest. But the way in which I shock my system really just helps everything move along. And working out is something that really, 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 really helps. I don't do anything extraneous or anything like that. I love to hoop dance. I love to play with my hula hoop. I'm still not the greatest hula hooper, but I love to dance with my hoop. And I like a lot of flow arts. So that's how I basically work out, or I'll use resistance bands or what have you. So it's not like I'm like a lot of keto people weight lift and weight train, and I don't do that. So I know I should start doing more firming things because I need to firm up my skin and tone up the things that are losing the weight. So, but yeah, breaking a stall is just a matter of carb ups, fasting, and working out. For me, anyway. I do intermittent fast pretty much every day. Because I listen to my body, and if my body is not hungry, I'm not going to force it to eat. I used to be like, okay, well, it's getting to be late. I'm going to have something to eat because I don't want to be hungry at 2 in the morning. I used to do that a lot. Well, I haven't eaten today. I should eat something because I don't want to wake up hungry. But the truth of the matter is that I never have. And once I let go of that fear, and I figure, well, hell, if I get hungry, I'll just go to the kitchen and grab, something small, like a piece of cheese or whatever, if I do get hungry. So once I let go of that fear, I was able to really get into intermittent fasting and 24-hour fasting, and extending my periods of fasting naturally without having to push myself. And again, water is a big proponent. I cannot stress enough, people with thyroid issues, drink water. And I'm telling me too, because I'm terrible at it right now. So yes, I do intermittent fast. Yes, I do see the benefits of intermittent fasting, and I have grown to love it. I've grown to love that is a part of this diet that just is. So yeah, I highly recommend just listening to your body. I don't know if I've written the blog post yet, but I know there's a blog post I've done about, I think the natural progression one was one where I talked about just listening to your body, listening to your body's cues. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is cheat meals. So a lot of people, are not a proponent of cheat meals. They don't like them, this, that, and the other. I was heavily against them when I started this diet, because when I started this, it was a diet. But as this has really become something I can see myself doing for the rest of my life, I have known this way of eating now more as a way of eating and a lifestyle. So I'm saying this probably not for the last time, but I don't believe in cheat meals, because I don't, when you're on, a standard diet, like a standard American diet of hot dogs and pizza and whatever, and you have a salad, is that cheating on your diet? No, it's having something lighter than normal. Well, I kind of take it as a reverse now. Like when I have like something that's not particularly keto, I realize that it's heavier than I normally eat. But I also realize, like, if I'm going to have something off of keto, this is a conscious decision that I have made to break with my tradition of eating and go with something else. And in the 4 months I've been keto, I think I've gone astray and eaten something with actual sugar and carbs and decadence, maybe probably twice. And I want to talk about this because I wanted to see what it would do for me. I'm an experienced person, meaning I like to try things and see what the outcome is, and if the consequences are something I'm willing to tolerate. So the first time that I went off and ate something that was not keto, and I hate the term off plan, but it's so ingrained into the way that we speak. But the first time I had a meal that was not a ketogenic meal, it wasn't a full non-ketogenic meal. It was just, I was out with somebody and they had ordered dessert. And I won't talk about that because I can't do trigger warnings or whatever for those of you who need them, but they had ordered dessert. It looked good, and I sat there a minute and I considered, okay, this is going to be the way that I eat for the rest of my life. And I know that I'm learning to make this, that, and the other. Do I really want to do this? Do I really need to do this? What's it going to do to my weight loss? This, that, and the other. And I really did think about it. And I decided that I was going to eat eat the dessert that had been ordered for me. So I did, and I was I think something like 180 pounds, and it bumped me up 5 pounds. But I worked it off in about 3 or 4 days of just being strictly keto. And it was not a horrible consequence for me. It was more than I wanted to work with. I could have been going further down the scale, but I'm not so adherent to my scale that it was something that really bothered me. I don't do it often. I don't plan on doing it often. But I wanted to find out if this was something that was going to be terribly, terribly impactful with my thyroid the way that it is or not. And the 2 times that I've done it, one was for, like I said, a dessert, and the other one was for bread. Bread? Yeah, bread. We went to Red Lobster, and they have these rolls. Just don't go to Red Lobster. If you're on keto, just don't do it. Because even their bread is delicious. And I had actually just had mushrooms, like the appetizer mushrooms, because I knew those were keto. But then I had the bread, and that was me off of keto for the moment, which didn't impact me too much, but still, it is what it is. So, yeah, I don't condone or condemn cheat meals. It's really up to you guys. But when you have a thyroid issue, you need to take that into consideration on what it may do to your progress. And then you need to be okay with that. So yeah, cheat meals are, I don't consider them cheat meals, I just consider them eating differently. I am somebody who is keto for life, no matter what. But do keep in mind that cheat meals can lead to stalling, which can set you back or bump you up, in which case, you really need to figure if that's something that's worth doing. So, I think that's pretty much a lot of what I wanted to cover. I know that a lot of people who are coming into this diet have fears, and about, I'm going to be eating fat, and fat's going to help me lose weight. How? How are my arteries not going to get clogged? How am I going to really lose weight eating nothing but butter and, coconut oil and, all this other stuff. And I know that it can be really scary because before I decided to do this diet, that's exactly where my mind was. But doing your own research so that you can formulate your own opinions, watching people on YouTube and hearing their experiences, reading their blog posts, it did help me, and I hope that what I'm saying here today will help some of you out there, or all of you really, but at least some of you who are going through maybe what I'm going through. I know not everybody's path is identical or the same at all, but if what I'm experiencing and what I do can help you guys, then that's what matters to me. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here for today. I think I've blathered long enough. If you guys have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the section below for comments, and I will respond to them in another live video. I think I really do like doing these live videos better. If you're on Periscope, I didn't see too many things coming through, but I will watch the replay and write down anything that you guys might have had as far as questions and comments and whatnot. So, until next time, I will see you guys later. On YouTube, I will see you guys soon, and I'm going to stop streaming on YouTube first. So, bye YouTube!